Right, I think then we should start this topic. So, as I told you, the topic as per the syllabus, inflation of forest product demand and supply analysis. So, first, I'd like to discuss this demand concept. Then I give you some brief on the supply concept. Then I'll back to this forest product. Then we'll discuss the whole topic in detail. Right, and the task that I have given to you, I hope I'll get some response. Fine, so let's start the main things. So today, demand and supply analysis, we need to understand what is demand analysis, what is supply analysis. So let me start with the things demand, right? So first we need to understand what is demand, right? That is very important term that one need to understand that. So what is demand? So generally the conception among the individual, or you can say even the students, if someone going to ask you what is demand, you just say what is your wants and desire or your needs, that's the demand, but that is not the exact demand. So demand is desire plus ability to pay plus willingness to pay. This is three component is there with the demand, right? It means if you have certain intention to get something, if you have certain wants, certain needs, right? So you must have the ability to pay it. It means you have sufficient strength, you have sufficient financial strength with you, so that you are able to pay what the wants or needs you have. And here when you are going to pay, it is total willingness. Whatever the ability to pay is there, it is willingness here. It means there is no force, no you going to coerce you, okay, you have to pay forcefully. That's totally willingness. It means it is your own desire, right, to pay the something that you have intention to acquire it. That is demand. Again, I'm to desire means you have to acquire something, desire to acquire something, then ability to pay for that desire, and then this ability is coming from your own willingness. There is no forceful activity there. So that is demand. So demand is not only that's wants and desire, but your affordability is there, whether the individual has able to afford his or her desire, wants or needs or not. So affordability should be here, isn't it? And obviously affordability come from your own behavior. Not going to force you, not going to coerce you, okay, you have to do that, you have to do this, that, and blah blah blah. Is it clear? So that is demand. So always keep in mind, and when you're going to understand the demand, just imagine yourself, and you can easily understand that if you have any desire, so your desire should be in a practical sense, right? You can't have a desire which is being impractical. And so practical desire means that you have that much financial strength, or your pocket has the capacity to meet your desire or want. So that is demand. So always keep in mind, demand means desire plus ability to pay and willingness to pay. Is it clear? I hope the term is clear to all of you. Demand. Fine. Now here, demand for a commodity. What the things is called as a complete demand. Commodity means whatever be the product or the goods and services you required. So how it is called a demand, right? So there is some four component is there, or these four things that one should understand. Then the activity is called as a demand. What? The quantity demanded, price, time period, and market area, right? If four things will be there, then we can say that the activity is demand for a commodity. So quantity demanded means number of the product or the services, whatever we as an individual or as a group you want, that is quantity demanded. Then the price, obviously your willingness to pay, your ability to pay for that, and the time period over which it is demanded. It means total time frame, right, within which time frame the quantity demanded there, and the market, it means where, right? So quantity demanded, it means the numbers, how many numbers, price, obviously price, time period means when, and market area where. So when this four component has to be the work together, then we can say there is a demand of a commodity. So there is one example through which we are easily able to understand the concept. Annual demand for Sony TV sets in Bangalore at an average price of rupees is P65,000. So just look at it. Quantity demanded 65,000, price 17,000, right? Time period annual, and market area Bangalore, right? So these four things is there. Quantity demanded, so numbers, price, whatever the price is there, time period, in which time frame the things has to be there, and market area where, right? So when all these four has to act together, then the activity is called demand for a commodity. Commodity means the goods and services that individual require or individual need to meet his or her desire or the wants or the needs, right? Now demand schedule. See, there is some problem with this system, so that's why this things has been disturbed, but it's okay. But I hope the slide is clearly visible to all of you, isn't it? So now demand schedule. What is demand schedule? So if you have seen the previous slide, what the basic component of this demand is? Quantity and price. Quantity and price, isn't it? So this is the basic information related to the demand, price and quantity. So when you are collecting or you are observing the data related to the price and quantity, and when you are representing those data in a tabular form, that is called demand schedule, right? Listen carefully again. As you have seen that in the demand, the basic thing is price and quantity, and when you are representing the information related to price and quantity in a tabular form, that is called demand schedule, right? Let me show you through an example. So this is the example. Price and quantity, we have to make two table, and then you can code the things. It means price rupees 10, you are making on it rupees 10 price, so quantity demanded may be 100, right? If price is more, for example, the price become 20, so quantity demanded may be 70. So when you are making this information in a tabular form, that is called demand schedule, right? Now demand curve. Now the same information what I have discussed with you, the same information has been represented by graph, so that is called demand curve, right? Both the demand curve and the demand schedule has given the same information, only the representation will be different. In the tabular form, right, you demand schedule. If you are making in a graphical form, that is demand curve, information will be same, right? Information will be same. Let me show you how the things there. So this is the information, this is demand curve, information is same, right? Certain price, certain quantity, certain price, certain quantity, and then you are making this kind of formation there, or the simple graph that can be made there by using the data from tabular form, isn't it? It's a very simple. We have a price, we have a quantity, we have a certain data 1 2 3, and then we are representing that data on the graph, and then I'm locating all these point x and y axis, and then we're making one line to touch all those points, so that will give you the curve, right? So whether you are representing the data of price and quantity in a tabular form or graphical form, information will be same, but when you are representing through table, that is called demand schedule, but if it is in a graphical form, that is called demand curve, right? Now we need to understand the law of demand. Right? How this demand has to work, what the basic law, that through this it will work. This is the law, just you have seen the slide where this mathematical presentation is there. So Q quantity demanded and 1 over, so it is the inverse relation. It is a inverse relation. What the inverse relation means? If price will be more, quantity demanded will be less. This is the notation that is law suggests. What the law suggests, if price of any commodity will be more, then the demand for that commodity will decrease, and the vice versa. It means if price will be less, then the demand will be or the quantity demanded will be more. But do you think that this law holds everywhere? So that's why there is condition has been put there. It means keeping all other things constant. It means there are certain assumption has to be made, and we have to fix something. Okay, this is the thing that need to be constant, and if some parameter is constant, on the basis of that parameter we can say that this law will be there or this law will be true. If the condition is not there, then you can't say that this law is correct or not, because it is a very simple notation. But there is certain exception case also there. For example, if you took the case of this what I'm saying, diamond or any prestigious things, if price will be more, demand will be more, isn't it? So if the thing is prestigious, right? So similarly, if, some case of emergency or something, you have already seen that if price will be more, the demand will be more. So at that time this law will not hold true. So that's why the condition has been put forward. Ceteris paribus, it means you have to keep some conditions constant, and on the basis of that we can say that in the general, if price will be more, quantity demanded will be less, and if price will be less, quantity demanded will be more here, right? So on the basis of that law, this is the graph, or you can say the graphical presentation of that law. So just look at here on the graph, this is demand curve, right? So there is a P0 go through this line and quantity Q0, right? It means at the price P0, quantity is Q0, and similarly price P1, quantity is Q1. But you just look at the relation here, right? Here P1 is greater than P0, isn't it? P1 is greater than P0, and just look at the relation of quantity, but Q1 is less than Q0, isn't it? You can see it clearly. So what the law suggests? The law says the same thing, inverse relation. If price will be more, quantity demanded will be less. If price will be less, quantity demanded will be more, right? So increase in the price causes decrease in quantity demanded. Similarly, the decrease in price causes increase in quantity demanded, but keeping other things constant, that I am going to discuss with you. What the things need to be constant, then the law of demand will hold true, otherwise it may have certain problem, right? So you all have understand the law of demand properly here? Is it clear to all of you, the law of demand? Good. So now on the basis of that, we can modify the definition of demand, right? In the first slide we have read the demand definition. What? Desire plus ability to pay plus willingness to pay. Now after understanding the some basic things about the demand, we are just modifying the same definition here. So what the demand is? Demand is relationship between price and the quantity demanded. It means what the relation between P and Q, keeping all other things remaining constant. So we have to keep certain assumption, or we have to keep certain variable constant. Then on the basis of that we can establish the relation between price and quantity demanded. Now the question is that what the things need to be constant. So what are the things that we hold constant? So now we discuss that. So these are the things that need to be constant. Look at here. First, consumer preference, right? So if your choice is fixed, right, you are not changing your taste, then obviously there should be inverse relation between P and Q. It means what? If you have habitual of consuming certain product X, right, and if the price of the X will be more, right, so how you balance your budget? So you have to curtail down your consumption with some numbers of this product X, because you are not changing your preference, because your preference is constant. That need to be understand here. Consumer preference, it means the taste, what the taste you have, right, your priority related to the product. If that is constant, it means you are not changing your taste. So obviously if price will be more and then you have to curtail down the quantity of your product there, right? Because your preference is fixed. Now the consumer's information, how the things will be there. So if even the price does not change, but if the consumer gets some good information about certain products, right, or some more information, some new information, some advantages are related to any product, so that will result in the change in the quantity, isn't it, right? And if any information you are getting there for any product, you can take that okay, it's just one information you can understand easily. Okay, the information is that tomorrow the price of certain commodity will be raised. So what will you try to accumulate that commodity today itself, despite there is no change in price, but still demand is going to change, or the quantity demand is going to change. So that is the information. If whether the information is bad or good or bad doesn't make, but that information has an impact on the human behavior as an individual. If any information you'll get, okay, certain things that you are using, maybe their price is supposed to be raised for next few days, then what are the things you have to do? Obviously supposed to buy. I think every day you are seeing in the or advertising or in the movie, television, or even in this newspaper, okay, this car price has to raise. Then before what the slogan is there, before prices go up, book your car or something like that. So why? So despite there is no rise in price, but still quantity demand will be more there. So this is the constant thing that one need to understand here. Then consumers income, again important thing. If your income is constant, if it means your income is not going to change, right? So obviously this lesson has to hold relation between Q and P. Obviously price will be there. If more price, you have to reduce the amount of commodity that you are consuming, right? Because here your income is constant, your income is fixed, there is no change in your income. So if there is no change, so if there is a more price, or you have to pay more price, obviously you have to curtail down your quantity related to the product that you have to consume. And it's a very simple example. You people have very much, we all are habitual of this onion price, isn't it? Right, onion price now it is 30, is has supposed to move to rupees 100. So you have just plot a graph here, or you can just make a table there. When it is 30, you are consuming 1 kg, 2 kg, even you are wasting something, but by the time it reaches the 50, again it will be from 2 to will reach 1.5 kg. Then if it's 100, so will come to this half kilo. Okay, only give me the 500 grams. That is the things there, right? So consumer income is constant. The income is constant. If your income is also increasing with the pace of price of the goods, so obviously this law of demand will not work there. But since we are assuming, because the definition suggests keeping other things constant, so we are assuming here that the income is also constant. So if income is constant, so obviously if price will be more, quantity demanded will be less, and vice versa. And how the income has effect on these things, there is two important goods that one need to understand. One is normal good, and second is inferior goods, right? So what is normal good? Let me explain you first. Normal goods, basically those kind of goods, right, which demand increases with the increase in income. That is called normal goods. If your income is going to increase, so demand will also increase, right? Let me give a very simple example. Just take example, some luxury item. If your income will be there, right, so you are going to buy some luxury items, isn't it? You may going to buy jewelry, or you may going to buy car, or some expensive item you are supposed to buy. So that is called normal goods. And if your income is going to fall, so obviously the quantity demand is also going to decrease. Obviously if your income is less, so no one going to buy the car or jewelry or anything. That is called normal goods. Now inferior goods, this is just opposite to the normal goods, right? So inferior goods is what? Try to understand here. Goods for which demand decreases, right? Try to understand that. Here what the things there? In this inferior goods, when your income is going to rise, the demand for this good has to decrease. That's what inferior goods. So let me through the example I am explaining you. For example, just take a very simple example. If a person is getting sirf 100 rupees per day, right, and he is buying a rice which is cost 1 rupees per kg, right, and when his income or her income is raised to 200, so what do you think? He is going to buy more 1 kg of rice? Obviously not. He will move to that quality of rice, despite the price will be there, but now he is tend to have a quality approach. So he is supposed to move to maybe 1.5 rupees kg rice, or maybe 2 rupees kg rice. So just look at it, his income is more, but the quantity demanded is less. So this kind of product is called inferior goods. Is it clear to all of you? Have you get this concept here first? Now after this, what the things need to be constant to hold the law? Number of consumers in the market. Obviously, if the number of consumers in the market, you just take example of very simple thing. You are residing in the village, so almost the population of village is near constant. Always they are constant, right? So if population will be constant, so obviously there is no new demand will be in the market. So if there is no new demand, so obviously the relation between price and quantity will be inverse, right? If more price will be there, so quantity demanded will be less, because there is no new consumer also come into the picture there, right? And if obviously if consumer will be more, demand quantity demand will be more. If it is less, quantity demanded will be less there. Now the consumer's expectations of future, this is also one of the impact there. So here these things also keep constant. Okay, the expectation is and if you get the expectation, or as I told you, if you get any information or that the price of certain good will going to increase in coming days, then what you will do? You will supposed to buy before the price increases, isn't it? Right? So this is expectation. So you have to anticipate your future. So so that's why the law has to hold. Okay, despite there is no change in price, but still demand is increasing because of the people's expectation related to the quantity there. And then after that, prices of close related goods also, it has also impact on this, right? So here just look at that, two goods are the substitutes or the complements. Substitute means replaceable. You can replace one goods with other. For example, there is two cold drink brand, we have X and Y. So if price of X will be more, and since both are cold drink, it means both have the same taste, same characteristics, everything is same. So if price of X will be more, individual has to shift to the Y there. It means the quantity demanded will be less for X, where the quantity demanded will more for Y as compared to the price here. So that is substitute. Now we talk about the complements. Complements means when you need goods that is consumed or used together. For example, very simple example let me give you. You people have a habit to consume tea. So how to prepare the tea? You need a leaf, isn't it? You need milk, you need sugar. This is the main component that is required to make a tea, isn't it? So if the price of any component will be more, obviously if more will be there, so it has an impact on the other product also there, because if the price will be more, the individual has to reduce the consumption of tea. So if reduce the consumption of tea will be there, so he or she needs less sugar, less milk. Have you get that? So this is the price of closely related goods here, right? Is it clear to all of you? So now I'll discuss determinants of demand, right? It means what are the things that are going to show certain characteristics of the demand. So these are the determinants which are going to have an impact on demand, right? So most of the things I have already explained to you. So price, you all know that price, if price will be less, demand will be more, and the vice versa. Income, as I already explained you, if there is a rise in income, there is a rise in demand there, right? Price of related goods, the substitutes and complements I have already said. Test and preference, there I have already said your test and preference will be there. Is also going to, because the demand of any object is totally dependent upon the test and preference. It means the choice you have, what the goods or services that as an individual you want to consume is totally dependent upon your this psychology. What is your taste and what is your priority, and why you have intention to consume that good. Then we have customs and tradition. Obviously there are certain rituals in our society, and on the basis of that there is certain demand for some specific object is there to customs and traditions. Then obviously government policy has also impact on the demand. So you people have already you have already seen that during the budget all these industries and individual has to keep their eye on what the budget says, that if budget, if there kind of certain kind of relaxation in certain sector will be there, so the demand for that sector will be suddenly become more. If certain taxes has been imposed on, for example, to buy a car you have to pay more taxes. So if this kind of policy will come into the picture, then what will happen? Suddenly the demand will be less, because if tax will be there, it means individual has to pay more price of that car. If the price has to be more, so quantity demand will be less there. Then advertising, obviously these things are there. Either to advertising is kind of, it may be kind of motivation, it kind of manipulation, right? So or it is simply a information. So on the basis, as you have already seen that even on the basis of information there is some demand can be created, because or some demand can be generated on the basis of advertisement also, because advertisement is a kind of information that has been shared. So if you have no idea about the product, but through the advertisement you will get information, and on the basis of information demand can be there. Then population, location, service, I have already told you. Population, it means if more population will be there, more number of people, more demand will be there. Whatever the price, but demand will be there. If there is no change in price itself, but still more people will come, demand will be more there. Then location, obviously where, I have already explained to where, right? The demand is there. Then services, so same goods and services. Goods means in a physical form, services that you are getting not in a physical form. And then the quality, right? What kind of quality you are getting, right? So this kind of things is going to determine the demand. Quality is also there, right? Why the people have a very first choice of Apple? So because Apple has a quality, people are very much fascinating about this expensive phones or something like that, because of the quality the phone has to serve, isn't it? So these are the determinant of demands. Is it clear to all of you now? Any question? Okay, now we'll discuss the shift of the demand curve, right? It means how the demand curve has to be shifted, either left or right, right? And what is the cause for that? That we also need to understand here. Given shifting will be there. If it is shifting to left, so there is a decrease in demand, as you look at here, and if it is shifting right, there is an increase in demand. So through the graphical method I like to explain you in the detail. So first, when the shift means, right, just they are changing their position from one calculation to other. Okay, now I am audible there. Okay, fine. So let's start the shift of demand curve. Shifting means changing one position to the other position, that is shift. So position can be changed either in the left hand side or the right hand side. So just look at there, this is the original graph, and this is changing either the left hand side, or it can move also in the right hand side, right? So if it is this is left, this is right. So if it is moving in a rightward shift, it means there is an increase in demand, right? Try to understand all of you. Now we're discussing about the shift in demand curve. So this is the original demand curve. Now it is shifting to the right. So if it is shifting to the rightward, right, it means there is an increase in demand. There is a increase in demand. Now the question is that when or in which condition the demand curve is going to shift rightward, right? And if you look at the curve, what the curve is representing there, it means at the same price more quantity is demanded, then the demand curve has to shift towards right. You all have just look on the slide itself, you can understand easily. If you are talking about the shifting means this this demand curve is shifting with his one position to the other position. So if it is moving rightwards, so it means there is an increase in demand. So the rightwards shifting means what? It means at the same price more quantity is demanded. At the same price more quantity is demanded. Just look at here. Again you can understand. Initially this is the first demand curve. This is price PQ, so the quantity is Q0. Now the demand curve shifted rightwards. This is the next demand curve. Price is not changing, just extending this, and then you have the quantity. So despite there is no change in price, quantity demanded is more here. So that is called shifting in demand curve. So again I am repeating, rightward shift, it means there is an increase in demand. Now the question is that how these things will happen, how the shifting will be there, what the cause for that. So cause for this shifting is, first you can see the preference. It is a greater preference. If you have changing your preference, obviously from one commodity to other commodity, that you will witness increase in demand for that commodity. So it will shift to the rightward despite there is no change in price, right? Second, if population will be more, the population will be more, right? So obviously there will be increase in demand despite there is no change in price. But if more population will come to certain place, obviously they all have to consume something, so consumption will be more because of the more population. So there is an increase in demand on the same price. Price is same, but the quantity demand will be more. If obviously income will going to if income is going to decrease, for example, take a case, if income is going to decrease, then what will happen? There is a demand of inferior good will be more, isn't it? Demand for inferior good will be more. So obviously the curve has to shift. If income is going to rise, so demand for normal good will be more, right? Fine. So at the same price more quantity will be get demanded there. Have you understand this concept here, shifting in demand? And its reverse is decrease in demand. If the preference will be less, if there is less income or anything. Thank you. Thank you. Right? So it is the opposite of increase in demand, where the preference has been changed. Here the less preference, less income. So it is shifting leftward. It means there is a decrease in demand here. So that is called shifting. That is called shifting in demand curve, right? Now one more concept to the same, movement. Shifting, if you have seen that in shifting, what is going on? In shifting, price is constant and quantity is demanded, right? Now if it is a movement, that is called change in quantity demanded, right, because of the change in price. So again let me explain you through the graph. So that is called movement. It may move upward, it may move downward, so it has to move along the curve. That is called movement. So now if it is a movement, so what are the things that you are supposed to witness? So if it is movement, so when there is a movement, so despite there is a change in price, but still there is some quantity demanded on that price there. So that's why it is called change in quantity demanded. So you keep in these things in your mind, then I'm going to explain you. It means when quantity demanded of commodity change due to a change in its price. So if price will be changed, then how the quantity demanded is changed. So if price will be more, there will be a less quantity demanded. If price will be less, there will be a more quantity has to be demanded. So that is the movement along the demand curve. So there is two things that has to be understood, as I told you. First, shifting, it means that is shifting to north or right or left, but there is a case price is constant and the quantity demanded is more. But here in the movement, the quantity demanded has to change as the change in price itself. So that is movement. It may move upwards, it may move downwards. So if you look at the case, if it is moving upwards, so price has to change P to P2, and then quantity has changed from Q to Q2. It means less quantity has been demanded. So if price is from P to P1, so is again it is changed to position B and quantity Q1. It means if price is less, quantity demanded will be more in units. So that is called movement along the demand curve, right? So these are the same thing that has been written over there that I have already explained to you. So that is expansion in demand, obviously, because the rise in quantity demanded due to fall in the price of commodity, other factor remaining constant. So demand is, so as I discussed with you, this movement along, so you can easily understand this. Change in quantity demanded occurs due to change in price, so leads to movement along the demand curve, as I have shown you. It may be downward movement, it may be upward movement. So downward movement means expansion in demand. How the expansion will be takes place, so you just look at here. If it is downward, so price will be less. So if less price will be there, so more quantity has been demanded, right? So that is called expansion. That is called expansion of demand. Similarly, if you look at here, if it has to move upwards, so there is a change in price. It means there is more price for the same product will be there. So if there is a rise in price, so quantity demanded is also less. That is called contraction of demand, right? So that is expansion in demand, and that is expansion I have already explained you, and then that is contraction. It means if price will be more, then the demand will be less, right? As you can see in the image itself here, right? So all these concept has been depicted in the same graph. You just look at, this is demand curve, this is shift, this is the main demand curve, and this is shifting leftward, shifting rightward, and this is the movement along the demand curve, right? So this is all about the information of the demand curve. So I like to conclude the session here itself. In the next session, I will start with this derived demand and some concept of supply there.